Great to have you with us on this Thursday morning, October the 2nd. It's been a whirlwind couple of weeks for our next guest. He's had to oversee the part of the Geelong Football Club's quest for a premiership as one of their main assistant coaches, but also in amongst that, he's an exciting part of Melbourne's next era, having been appointed the coach of the Demons, and he's been good enough to join us this morning. Stephen King, welcome.
Good morning, Gaz. Morning, Tim. Thanks for having me.
Great to talk to you, mate. This has been a pretty hectic month or so. Not many people will have gone through what you've gone through. How difficult was it to... I'm sure your focus was fairly and squarely on your primary job there at Geelong for a long period of time, but in the background, knowing you're about to take over a senior coaching gig, she would have been a pretty tough time, I reckon.
Yeah, it's been an interesting month, Gaz, for sure. Clearly the process, getting prepared for that, and, luckily enough, working at a great club like Geelong, fully endorsed my decision to apply for this role, and was so supportive in that endeavours. And then for me to obviously win the job, which was an amazing honour and privilege. Sort of had to try and put that to the side just for the last couple of weeks to, as you said, to just make sure my full attention was on Geelong. And it was a weird feeling sort of after the game, because obviously devastated for the footy club and for the group, but deep down I was a little bit excited about what tomorrow will bring as well. And I've got the feet under the desk now, so looking onwards and upwards now with the Melbourne Footy Club.
Sensational, and we'll get to all of these questions that a lot of Melbourne supporters would like to hear. Just quickly, the wash up from the Cats and the grand final. Just your take on what went wrong.
Yeah, look, obviously, Gaz, I don't think we sort of played the way our system and our brand that we sort of had played all year. So that was the most disappointing thing. I mean, but at half time we're in the game, and, we thought we could, make a run at it in that second half. But, clearly credit to Brisbane, Fags, and what they've done as a footy club's unbelievable. And, when the heat was on, they ramped it up, and we were unable to respond, unfortunately. So, not a great day. And, but I think as an industry, we need to probably even just acknowledge, how good a season a lot of clubs have that obviously don't win the ultimate, but still, make a grand final, prelims. It was a great effort. I'm really proud of the work behind the scenes at that footy club and for the playing group as well.
They are a great football club. There's no question about that.
Talking to Stephen King, the Melbourne coach, and congratulations to Kingy on being appointed the coach. And I just wonder about, once that happened and you're still involved with Geelong, was it hard at all to concentrate on what you still had to do and had to complete as a Geelong assistant coach?
Oh, not really, Tim. I think I was hypersensitive of making sure I wasn't distracted. So I was really mindful of just putting aside other things that, thinking too far down the track and the detail of what had needed to get done, what my first week or month had looked like at Melbourne. So I'm probably not scrambling now, but really sort of diving into that. I was just making sure, I was on top of my game at Geelong and making sure I'd prepare my players as well as possible.
So have you had a chance, we know that's been reported about Stephen May, that he should or could pursue other clubs outside of Melbourne. Have you had the chance to sit down with him and talk to him directly?
I haven't had a chance to sit down with Stephen yet. That was more of a list management decision. And as a club, I think we obviously respect Stephen for what he's done for this club, but I think we had really open and honest dialogue around what the future might look like for Stephen and maybe for him to explore options elsewhere to extend his career. He's obviously contracted at Melbourne Footy Club, and if he was to come back, he's got every right to earn his spot with everyone else. But we've got a lot of young defenders that are chomping at the bit to get some exposure, and we're really keen to give that to them as well.
So where does it sit from a Christian Petracca point of view? I guess that's the one that is dominating the headlines at the moment. A lot of Melbourne supporters would want to know. It would appear that this has been, Paul Guerra's communicated this pretty well from my point of view anyway. It's just been a supporter that's been open and transparent, and that they're happy for him to explore, but there's no guarantee. Did you sit down and have that conversation with Christian one-on-one?
I've spoken to Christian. He's obviously on leave at the moment, but we've spoken on the phone. I relayed probably Paul's messages that, as a coach now, I'd love the opportunity to work with Christian and coach him. I fully understand the landscape we're in. I respect Christian's decisions now to explore his options, but he has got 4 years left in the contract. So it'd have to be an amazing deal for our footy club now for him to move. And I just relayed my thoughts around, if things don't work out for Christian, it's a fresh start with me and Paul as CEO. And I've got his back around walking back into the club and playing great footy, and I'll back him in.
Did you you pitch your case to where you think he can be in your team and desperately try and sort of win him over and say that, no, you're a Melbourne player and I want you to be part of what I see this club being next year? Was that part of your pitch?
Yeah, it was, Gaz. I let him know the environment I want to create here at this footy club, and more importantly, the style and brand of footy we want to play. And Christian would be, central to that, because obviously the player he is. He's still runner-up in our best and fairest, and we all know the player Christian is. And he'd be pivotal to those plans I've got. So, look, I respect his time and space at the moment, and I'll give him that. But, he'd be a central part of what we're trying to do moving forward.
So I don't want to hammer this. I'm just trying to get it clear. So you've told him where you see him being and you want him part of it. And then he said, good, I've got that information, but I now just want to see what else is out there. Is that what I'm reading?
That's probably where it sits at the moment, Gaz. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
And was that decision been made before you actually started or were named as the coach of Melbourne, Kingy?
I think it's sort of those discussions might have happened grand final week, Tim. So I wasn't actually privy to any of those meetings. I was more just following up from this week onwards around, and I touched base last week, obviously, and then now that the grand final's out of the way, sort of sit back now, work in with our list management team, sit down with Paul where the footy club's at, and ultimately we'll do what's best for our footy club, and we want Christian to be part of that, no doubt. But as I said before, if Christian chooses to leave, it'd have to be on our terms, and it has to be fantastic for our footy club.
There's been a lot going on around Melbourne too, McVie. He's told the club that he wants to pursue another club. What about that discussion? Did you get the opportunity to speak to him and try and talk him around as well?
Yeah, I spoke to Judd. He had some probably frustrations around how he thought he was pigeonholed as a player, and I guess the way I see Judd and with his athleticism and skill set, I wanted him to be a contributor for us to move the ball out of our back half and really bounce the ball out of there. And yeah, so we sat down, had a coffee. I thought it went really well, but ultimately Judd, wants to return home to WA, and I respect that decision. And again, that's something that our list management team will work through.
So you've got your feet under the desk. What's the first few days look like? What's occupying your time right now?
Yeah, had a great day yesterday, Gaz, with our coaching staff, high performance staff. So sat down with Troy Chaplin, Nathan Jones, Taylor Whitfield, just went through the review of the year, and they presented to me where the club sat in a lot of different areas, and then and obviously from a high performance view as well, with the athletic profile we've got, how we stack up against the competition. And then I sort of just sat down with them around my philosophies and what I want to do and change and tweak and for us moving forward, but I'd like to implement. So, yeah, it was a really good day over at the G. And, and obviously there's, a few other things bubbling away in the background as well, but that's sort of been the big part of yesterday. Today, try and look at a few more additions that we can make staff-wise with some coaching vacancies that we'd like to try and fill by the end of next week. And, always something to do, which I'm learning now quickly.
Is Matthew Scarlett one of those calls that you've made or will make?
Yeah, look, it will. Not sure if I'd be able to grab Scarlo full time. He's obviously down at Torquay and heavily invested with what he's doing down there with his boys and his work. So, but I'd love to get him as part of our program up here. So fingers crossed that gets across the line.
Talking to Stephen King, the new Melbourne coach, there's been some question marks against the culture there at Melbourne over the last couple of years. Are you keen to explore the culture that exists there at Melbourne, or is it like a clean slate as far as you're concerned, and you now establish the new culture that you want there at Melbourne?
Oh, look, I think that culture is an interesting word, Tim. I've been lucky enough to be around some great environments, and it's not something that I want to just cut and paste, here's Geelong, bring it to Melbourne. I think there's a lot of good that's happening at Melbourne already. For me, I just want to create an environment that people want to be in, that people love coming to work every day, whether it's staff or players, and just get to work together. So for me, I'll be really open and honest around how I want our club and our environment to feel and look. And from that, I mean, we've got some terrific leaders here, some premiership players, and I think we obviously hear about some discontent with that in the playing group, and obviously players that might be looking to leave. But geez, there's a lot of good things and a lot of good people here that want to be part of this club and take it forward. So yeah, I'll be tapping into those guys as much as they will me.
Philosophically, one of those leaders and a great leader is Max Gawn. What sort of a relationship are you keen to establish with your captain of the football club?
Oh, I think for me, Max is someone I admire greatly, and not only for his stance in the game, what he does on field, but as a leader. And for me, I want that captain-coach relationship to be really strong. I want us to work together and drive this group forward and the club forward together. So, yeah, we'll be working really tightly together, and already had the pleasure to catch up with Max a couple of times. So just to get his feel on the place and how excited and enthused he is now to start fresh again with me and really take this club back to where it should be, playing finals and contending.
In a playing sense, he's not a real jumper as a ruckman. We now know the bounce won't be part of it. Do you think this is going to help or hinder his performance at centre bounces?
No, I think it'll help him. I think what's sort of crept in at centre bounce the last couple of years with ruckman just sort of lining up on the line and taking away players' jump, I think this is going to aid Max's height and his reach, and I think it'll work well for Max out of there.
When you're asked the question, your expectations for Melbourne next year, is to play I think you said to play finals. Does that create a rod for your back then along the way? I mean, there has been some commentary around it saying, well, you're setting yourself up to fail when you say something like that. What's your response to that?
Oh, look, as I believe every club should believe they should contend, and I honestly believe Melbourne, off the year that they've had, to lose 6 games under 10 points, I just think this group's ready to spike, and I think we can contend. I think the margin in the game now is so small. So I honestly believe if we have a fresh start, re-energise the group a little bit, and make some tweaks with how we want to play, I've got no doubt this group will contend. Now, is that finals? I'm not sure, but if that puts a rod in my back by being ambitious, then I've got a rod in there. But I want to have a crack at this, mate. It is a marginal competition, and it doesn't take much to make a jump. So I hope every player is feeling the same way as I am, and I know our coaches are at the moment. So, yeah, we're going to get after it.
We really appreciate how open and honest you've been. I want to ask you another question about Brodie Myercheck. How close is this deal to coming to fruition, and is he a required player as far as you're concerned? Is he somebody that you would like to get your hands on as part of your forward line?
Oh, look, I mean, yeah, I think that's been reported. I know trade week starts next week, Tim, and that'd be something that, I've admired the way Brodie gets gone about it for years now, how hard-working he is, how honest he is as a player, and how mobile and athletic he is. So I think any time we can bring in experience, it'll help not only our performance on field, but help, fast-track some of our younger keys as well. That'd be a great addition, but I'm not really sure where that one sits at the moment. That'll be sort of something that pops up, I think, next week once trade week opens.
Because this has been one of the great talking points about Melbourne over the last couple of years is their connection, their ability to be able to convert the opportunities that have come forward. Have you had much time to sit down and analyse that yet?
Yeah, a little bit. Some of that data got presented yesterday, which, obviously is a part of the game that, we need to get better at. But I still believe it's that's an outcome of how you move the footy out of your back half and how you set the ground up. So, yeah, look, Melbourne, I mean, we get plenty of looks, and I think if you're a Melbourne fan, you would have seen a lot of opportunities gone begging throughout the year. And, yeah, it's something, obviously, the connection from the ball user, the kicker, to the forward, but also I think it's the work that's done up the ground and us working as a formation to make sure we get the ball inside our forward 50 a little bit quicker and a little bit more unpredictable for the opposition. So, that's something we'll be trying to work on. Not only the front half connection, but how we move the ball out of our back half.
Just asking for a friend, kickers. Have we got enough good kickers on the list? And will that be one of the priorities?
Oh, look, I think the game now, Gaz, is all about the way you use the footy and what you do with it on the outside. So I think Melbourne over a long period of time have been elite on the inside and winning contests. Yep. But it's as you see now, the way the game's sort of changing and transitioning. It's a transition game, and it's the teams that can win it on the inside and get it to the outside and give that kicker a bit more time and space and be encouraged to really drive your legs and take the game on. And that's something we'll be really promoting from within. And any time you can get any player that can help add to that, you'd be mad not to look at it.
And King, just finally, it's 3 rings. You must answer your phone with inside the 3 rings from a former Melbourne captain. Otherwise, you're going to find yourself on some shaky ground.
Will do.
And there's a strong Goulburn Valley connection here that you shouldn't forget either, Tim. Stephen King, Adam Uze, 2 of the big, Stephen Tingay, all Shepparton, Shepparton royalty down there.
Yeah, no, it's a proud the Golden Valley's a proud Melbourne area, Gaz, and as you know, so look, it's a privilege and honour, and it's got deep connections throughout the Golden Valley. So I'm really proud to represent Shepparton and obviously the Melbourne Footy Club as well.
It's a great. I've loved the chat, and we get real time feedback here. And there's a lot of Melbourne supporters or footy supporters in general, actually, that have enjoyed listening to you. Good luck, big job, massive challenge ahead, and we look forward to touching base throughout the year.
No, I really appreciate it, guys. Thanks for having me.
Stephen King,
thanks for your time.
New Melbourne coach, to join us. The AFLW team is flying as well. They play tomorrow against Essendon at Casey Field. The club's keen for plenty of Melbourne fans to get along there. Second on the ladder, 6 wins and one loss under Kate Hoare, and the rest of the girls there doing a great job. Let's take a break and we'll unpack the chat on the other side.